Leo, this is your week ahead astrology forecast by Astrology Motivation from Born Without Boundaries. Welcome, guys. My name is Michelle, and in this video, we're going to go over the major planetary aspects and transits and how they will impact your natal sun and what that means for your day-to-day for the week of May. Sorry, I always got to look at my notes. Y'all should know that by now. May 26th to June 1st of 2023. Leo, we're going to start out really broad, and then we're going, like the stuff that's going to impact everybody, and then we're going to focus down onto the things that particularly Leos, specifically Leos, should be focused on. Not that it's good or bad, it could be either, but that you should know about. And then we're going to break it down into the decans. A decan is a group of 10 degrees, and every zodiac sign has 3 decans because every zodiac sign is a total of 30 degrees. The reason why, as astrologers, we break it down into 10-degree increments is because that is the sort of toggle room or range of an aspect's existence. So if it's within a 10-degree range, then that aspect is still a solid aspect and you'll get some impact from it. An aspect is an angle or the relationship created between two planetary bodies because of the angle forming between the two of them. All of astrology is based on geometry. So do you need to know where your natal sun is, like the exact degree it's located on to enjoy this video? No, you do not, but it is going to be the most accurate. So if you don't have your natal chart done, then go get it done. It is free. Just go on to any search engine and put in free natal chart. There are so many websites that do it. You'll need your birth date, which you already have, your birth time, and your birth location, which your birth certificate has on it. And in seconds, it will spit out a full natal chart. And for astrology geeks like us, that's the first place to start when you're studying astrology, is to really get familiar with your natal chart, how it looks, what it means, and then to go more in depth from there. If you don't have it, though, that's okay, because I will be providing you with the correlating range of birth dates that these different degrees impact or would include. Those are estimates, but at least you will definitely have some frame of reference. So let's start out with the big stuff. The biggest thing is the aspect, there are no major transits this week, okay? There are no major transits this week, but there is a major aspect that does change. Now, over the past week and a half, we have had Pluto squaring Jupiter, and then over the last week, we've had Pluto square Jupiter opposite Mars, which was also square to Jupiter, and both of them were square to the south node. Jupiter is conjunct the north node. This is a huge clusterfuck of energy that is waiting to push the drain through. Relentless energy. Now that could go either way, either good or bad, but that's basically what's been happening, and that's the biggest aspect that is happening in the sky right now. But at the end of this week, on June 1st, Mars moves out of range of a real tight opposition to Pluto, because Pluto is at 0 degrees Aquarius, and by the end of this week, Mars will be at 6 degrees Leo. It is still in a loose conjunction, but not that tight. And what happens is Venus moves into about 27 degrees Cancer, which means it's in a much tighter opposition to Pluto. So by the end of this week and into next week, Mars will be well out of range for that opposition to Pluto. It is still in range for the square to Jupiter, however, which is still very relentless, but it's not as permanent, it's not as intense, it's not as extreme, and it may not be as universal. It may be just a little bit more personal. Anything involving Pluto is the big stuff. It's an outer planet. So there is something going on this week that's going to impact all of us. That's all I'm saying. I'm not trying to get into any political discussions. I really don't. That's not the point of this video. Let's get back to what you should be focusing on. So another big thing that I mentioned is on the 1st, Pluto and Venus will be in opposition. Now, when Pluto is opposite Venus, that means a lot of stirring up with financial issues, especially in Cancer, because Venus Cancer is very financial focused. It likes its finances to be secure. So there may be a major change to the security of your finances or to your family finances. Some major change. Doesn't have to be bad, but it will probably be extreme over like June 1st into the next week, but we'll get there when we get there. Pluto is also trying the sun this week, which gives me hope that the Roto-Rooter that is this big grand cross in the sky is actually to bring something to light, and it's going to result by something that was hidden being exposed, right? A real transformation of sorts where it's going to help us go to the next level and be better than what we were before once we get this stuff unclogged. I like that energy. And then I also have Saturn sextile to Jupiter. Saturn sextile to Jupiter is one of the most, if not the most productive aspects that could be happening. This energy gets things done. It moves things forward, it expands, it grows, but it does it through the law, by the law, maybe the law itself, expanding and growing, looking beyond the norm, career advancements, and also just a sense of appreciating different people, different cultures, different understandings, worldviews, expanding and growing. This could be a real global change for us, is what I'm saying. So it's making that sort of intense grand cross not less intense, but it's pushing it toward productivity and harmony as opposed to destruction, which I like. I like relentless. I don't like ruthless. And that energy, just the grand cross energy between Pluto and Mars and Jupiter and the South Node could really go both ways. Now, the North Node Jupiter conjunct the North Node is a good sign too, because it means our potential for the future is actually expanding and growing, and what we're interested in is diversifying. So that's good news too. Let's go into specifically what all Leos should always be paying attention to, and that is the sun. So where is the sun right now? Answer, it's in Gemini, and it's going to move between 5 and 10 degrees Gemini. This is nice because Gemini forms a natural sextile to Leo. So there is a specific group of you, Leo ones, that are going to be sextile the current sun, which gives courage and happiness and contentment and charisma to you for this week. We'll talk about that when we get there. But the sun is going to move between 5 and 10 degrees Gemini. It is trine to Pluto until the 28th, which is Sunday. So that's, once again, that kind of acceptance, self-acceptance, accepting your darker side, healing your darker side, those things that you've tried to hide coming up and being able to show them and connect with them, a deeper, more intense understanding of your own personal identity, a fuller, richer understanding and acceptance of your own personal identity. The sun is also sextile to Mars, which is fantastic stamina, vitality, certainty, conviction, and of course, personal identity in a physical way, in a physical dynamic. So physicalizing this. And then we also have the sun square to Saturn, which can butt heads, like two very prideful people butting heads. That could mean that at least for this week, you kind of like things are held up in paperwork, or contracts don't get signed, or because of a contract you can't get something else signed, or authority problems, or even just personal authority problems, like this sense of not wanting anybody to control you and the dissonance that might create, or just troubles or challenges at work. A challenging work week could be what it means for you as well. Let's get into the decans to get more specific, shall we? So decan 1, Leo, if your natal sun is between 0 and 9 degrees Leo, you are Leo 1, because your sun is somewhere in the first decan. So how does this relate to birth dates? Basically, July Leos. July 22nd through the 31st would be the first decan Leos, generally speaking. So those are your estimates, but generally speaking, that's a safe bet. Your natal suns are conjunct to Mars right now. That means that there is a physical intensity to you. There's more stamina. There could be more sex drive. There could be more pugilistic energy, like just wanting to leap at something, being more impulsive, being more physical, putting your head first. This could be great energy if you can guide it. If you let it guide you, it could actually get you injured. Just an FYI. Also this week, it's your natal suns that are sextile to the sun, which brings confidence. And once again, with that conjunction to Mars, you guys are going to have a lot of fucking energy, a lot of fucking stamina, and a lot of intensity about yourself. And sometimes, in some ways, if you don't have a lot of control over yourself, you'll be looking for a fight. So it could get you into trouble, but it could also open up so many wonderful doors for you. So use it for good, not for evil. Just letting you know. The longer term transits are square to Jupiter, which will be happening for another couple of weeks, well into June, around June 15th. Jupiter is currently this week conjunct the North Node, which means future focused or challenges with your future focus or with the expansion you're trying to make in your life. You may be getting dissonance from others. Just an FYI, that means you're also square to the South Node. What does that mean? It means that this is a major transitional time in your life. It means that you are moving forward, becoming more mature and a different version of yourself, and you could find that your preferences are really changing. For example, in my personal life, my South Node is in Pisces and my North Node is in Virgo. My whole life, I always needed to be by the ocean. I just couldn't not be by the water. But I've been finding in my older years that I actually like land more, the mountains more. It's a subtle change, but it is me. It's a demonstration of me moving more toward where I am headed in life as opposed to where I began. It doesn't mean I don't love the ocean. I freaking love the ocean. But you always, once you get comfortable with your South Node, you take it with you wherever you go. And so it's like you don't need to have so much infused in you because you have it in you. And you carry that strength with you toward the future. And that's sort of the corner that you guys are taking right now, closing one chapter, not that it wasn't a lovely chapter, closing one chapter and being able to open the door to another or open the page to another. And then we have long-term transits, which are opposition to Pluto. Opposition to Pluto will last for quite some time. That means there is dynamic changes in your life, absolutely. And the fact that you're square to the nodes is just even more dynamic. These are page-turning events in your life. And when it involves Pluto, you're not turning back. This is the permanent kind of change. Not to say it'll happen overnight, but to say that it is happening, especially over this next year. And your life is changing for good, and it's not going back. And that doesn't mean it's bad. It can be absolutely beautiful. This is like caterpillar to butterfly, right? The butterfly never goes back to the caterpillar. It doesn't mean that the caterpillar was bad, and it doesn't mean that the butterfly there's anything. No, it's just what you were meant to be. You weren't meant to stay the caterpillar. And so why change back? There's no turning back when Pluto is involved, and a lot of times that is actually it's always a natural thing, and it's sometimes very, very much a good thing. Let's go to Leo 2s. So Leo 2s, your natal suns are somewhere between 10 and 19 degrees 10 and 19 degrees Leo. That puts you at about the first 10 days of August. So August 1, perhaps July 31st, some years, all the way through August 9th or 10th. This is where my Leo 2s live. By the 1st of June, which is the very last day of this week, your natal suns will be sextile the sun because it's moved past the second decan of Gemini and moved into 20 degrees. It'll be 20 degrees Leo. So, No, the first decan, right? So it'll be moving into the second decan. Yeah. So it'll be 10 degrees. It'll be 10 degrees of Gemini by the end of this week, which makes it conjunct to your natal suns by the end of the week. You guys, even before the 1st, you guys in the 9th, 10th, and 11th will already be feeling this infusion of confidence and competence and charisma and life purpose and maybe even romance, because just is something, so much brightness, so much light, and definitely a natural sense of charisma. You can get a little bit too ahead of yourself and a little too big on yourself. This is something that you would struggle to control. And why would you want to? Because conjunctions are neither good nor bad. It's how you use them. And so they could get you in as much trouble as they could get you in a fortunate situation. So just an FYI. This week, your natal suns are square to Mercury. What does that mean? It means that you're having your own mini Mercury retrograde. No, Mercury is not in retrograde, but when your natal sun is squared to the current Mercury, it feels that way. It feels like, wait, why are people misinterpreting what I'm saying? And why didn't this email go through? I know I sent it. And what, a flat tire too? It's kind of like communications. There's challenges. There's just challenges, and it will be silly stuff. It'll be smaller stuff, but it could be very irritating. This is not a great time to take a test, give an interview, or give an important presentation. It's just not. If you could put it off to next week, I would highly recommend it. And your long-term aspect is a trine to Chiron, which means you're healing, especially from physical ailments and physical pain. What you've suffered and the way that you've struggled, especially with your own personal identity, you are healing it. You are healing from it, and you are going to be able to get through it, which that conjunction or sextile to the sun can really, I said conjunction. I apologize. It's a sextile to the sun. This is all good. Like, this is opportunity to shine. This is opportunity to radiate, be happy, be healthy, and even be romantic and flirtatious and joyful. So forget it's a sextile to the sun. It's a sextile. So that's actually a lovely energy. And especially with that trine to Chiron, it will be very, very healing. And it may be the first time in a long time you've actually felt like yourself again. I love that. Leo 3s. Leo 3s, your birthdays are the last, basically, estimate 9 to 10 days, last 9 to 10 days of Leo season. So say August 11th through the 31st. Or August, yeah, in and around those dates. Your natal suns have a long-term aspect to Uranus. It's a square to Uranus, which means big tech, technology, internet could be really messing you up or easily distracting you. There could be just oddball things happening, like randomly over the past couple of years, curveballs thrown at you that really throw you off. Expect the unexpected and expect it to irritate the crap out of you. Also a sense of your own interest starting to stray and starting to want something different or rebel against the norm. If you've been feeling that and stimulated like that, it's because of this square to Uranus. It's meant to make you curious and make you question and make you challenge your own sense of self, your own personal identity, as well as what else might be out there that makes you happier. That's long-term. Another long-term transit is this quincunx to Neptune, which could just be also distraction and dreams that are kind of getting in your way of reality, or kind of getting lost in your head a little bit too much escapism. Could even be trouble with a lot of drinking. A lot of a lot of drinking, or kind of like choppy waters. Let's just say that. That's long term though. That's long term, and I think that this week it's not going to be so exacerbated. You also have a square to Pluto. Not a square, a quincunx to Pluto. What is that? Frustrating change. Change that pushes you and frustrates you, and that you're basically resisting. So stop that, because you can't resist a Pluto interaction. It will just be frustrating, or frustrated about the things and how quickly they're changing around you. That's the next couple of years. We also have a sextile to the South Node, also a long-term transit until basically July. That means getting comfortable with yourself. So what does all that mean? Getting comfortable with where you came from. Finding peace finally with where you came from. Learning about, knowing, or understanding more about where you came from and how you got through it. And finding opportunities through that stuff that you identify with, that it comes easily to you. Okay, but what does this mean? Healing. Learning to put your past behind you. That is basically your goal, Leo 3s, for the next year to 2 years. Learning to heal and allow your past to be your past and be put behind you. That's long-term goal. So you guys let me know how this energy is impacting you. I'd love to know. Please give this video a thumbs up if you have enjoyed it, and subscribe to the channel to help astrology motivation grow. And now come on over to Born Without Boundaries Tarot for your week ahead tarot card reading. I love you guys, and I'll talk to you next week. Bye, Leo.